Yeah, I'm just sitting here. Give me a minute. I'll be on in a second. It's starting to push out where things get squeezy. I am here somewhere. Can you find me? I see YouTube still hasn't fixed the weird screen name bug. All right. Oh, a little bit of resistance at 66.20. Hmm. Yeah, I think so. Why? Some investors feeling sorry for Jensen. Yeah, poor Jensen. Was yesterday the bottom? Mm, maybe. I don't know. This is still not a very impressive bounce. But we did sell off hard as fuck yesterday, so I'm not surprised we've got somewhat of a bounce. I am surprised that this hasn't squeezed more. Like 65.80 to 66.20. That made sense. Maybe calls have priced up too much. Chop around here is going to lead to Vana picking back up, though, and then things get weird. Also, not a lot of put sellers. Heavy smell. Heavy. Yeah, it's a little skewed to the downside right now. Not the put side. Just think of it like moneyness, not puts and calls. It's better. VX isn't down that much. It was down 2% in the overnight already. Um, mhm. Oil's still falling off a cliff. BTC still down. There's still demand on the front end. No, see if this keeps rejecting, it's gonna start to get slippery. And then the next breakout is like 66.50 to the upside, which is somewhat important. That at least marks like the midpoint for a reversal. And then maybe looking towards, gamma neutral in the monthly um for a retest, or like DN on the weekly 66.85, which is right about where the implied move was yesterday at close. Is it too much to ask for end of day crash to 65.20, then Thanksgiving week massacre next week? It's a lot to ask for. Looking at SPY, I was thinking it would rally to 660. Then once it got back above 660, it would pull back and risk falling hard back below 660. Am I looking at this right? I have to go look at the levels on SPY. I mean, it can keep breaking up, I guess would be kind of the issue here. There's definitely room for it to move out to like 64, 65. I would say yes if it fails back below 660, bearish, back to like 55 or 51. Out of day trades, 400 up. Fuck yeah, man. Thanks for everything, G-Man. See you next week. Later, dude. You please throw SPXW back up? Oh, yeah. They're not going to be too different from one another. I think I can. Oh, there we go. That was weird. Why does a narwhal have its horn thing? I think it's a tusk. Have you ever felt one? They used to have one that you could like fuck with at the New York City Aquarium when I was like a kid. They're like spongy. It's weird. That's messed up. I don't like that. Ooh, all up. Not much. A little bit. Creeping up. I almost hit a goose covered in mud. Yeah, same like Black Swan, sounds like. Hmm. Sorry, I'm doing like a million things. I almost hit a goose covered in mud. This is the greenest market crash I've ever seen. Demand JFresh answer is for his crimes. Getting close to dumpies. Uh, I'll be honest with you on the chain. It looks like bears have the edge if price continues to slip. And probably back down to like 6,600 where there's minor support, but bot puts building out of the money. Upside calls collapsed. 6,600 synthetic short overall, so falling below that is very bearish. Also, don't forget the hedging dynamics here. Downside's violent downside potential. Yeah. Support level's thin, so like we could just pop right through 6,600 despite it being like stacked to the tits with options. Yeah. Did you just stare silently at vibe trading, thinking to yourself how bad we are at interpretation, and just decide not to comment? I haven't been in vibe trading yet. Are you guys all going long or something? Oh, give me a minute. I'll do songs in a bit, Surfa. Thank you. I sold my call hedge and was debating if I should dump my puts as well. Hmm. I mean, I guess if I guess if we get strong support at 6,600, then like this would probably be a good level to make some assumptions about holding puts over the weekend, especially, or even for the rest of today. However, if there is no support here, whoosh, there's a lot of fucking open downside. And look at the skew. Jesus fucking Christ. It doesn't look good for bulls, I'll say that much. Sploosh? I guess sploosh. I panicked and I straddled 65.15 into Monday. Am I regarded? Yeah. Well, strangles leave you less prone to getting crushed out a little bit. I mean, strangles and straddles are both overpriced here. Inverse condors and butterflies offer a lot better funding. I I would even say that like out of the money like if you'd the butterfly at like 6,600, if you'd opened it, down here, just as an upside target, would have been like, yeah, what, like fucking 90% net credit. And then at the money, it would have been like 300% returns. Cash account, scalp gamma, like confirm direction and then scalp. So like this breakup right here, you could have probably bought like the 6,600. Because remember, like once things start running, it's going to keep running. Hmm. Ooh, there we go. Fun times. How far can bears go? 6,600 is lost. Probably things start to get choppy under 65.70, but vol continues up pretty consistently. So I would say we'd probably want to take a look at Vana down there. 50? Yeah, I would guess 50. Maybe things could get hung up at 75 a little. 70, 75, but 50 is definitely on the table. That'll probably just depend on momentum. Like if momentum keeps up and volatility keeps skewing higher to the downside, then yeah, probably. I mean, look, like puts are being bought pretty actively here, and we're starting to see that kind of curve flatten out. So, but if that spikes again, like it just did, um, more downside. Any money on calls today? It felt gross. Lower implied move 64.30. It shrank with the morning OI change, but I think it's actually maybe it is. Is that 1%? Hold on. What did it? It went down to 1.66. Yeah, so my implied move would be a bit different than that. With this morning's OI change, mine would be at 150, so like 64.40. And 66.36, which is about where we got. Pretty close. 30. Some profit taking on puts on this bounce. An awful lot of repositioning here under 6,600. I feel like the upside wick getting crushed here is probably not a great sign. ES is basically at 6,600 right now, though, which is an important level. Yeah, I have 149, 149 and a half. Who was right about NVIDIA? It's questionable. JFresh was right that it was going to go up. I was right that it wouldn't squeeze. There's potentially multiple reasons, but like we're really going to get like we've argued about it a lot, and we're really going to get into the fucking weeds if we keep going because there's I think JFresh is correct about the options interest at earnings, but I think there's a difference in what we were looking at going into earnings. So like most of my assumptions about the Nvidia chain are based on the OI accumulation following like October OPEX, and most of his were the near dated chain, so like this week. And the reality is that, at 200 to 220, there was a mix of both sold and bought options. The only real argument there is like which one had the edge, which one was the majority. And that makes both points kind of valid. Yeah, yeah. And we both made money, so it's like kind of hard to argue any of it, I guess. This looks like chopping to close. No, I think volatility is too high for. I mean, yes, we can get chop, but it's going to be probably wide ranging. It's gonna feel. It's not gonna feel a lot like chop. Hmm. 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 How did the myth start that Gherk's a centaur? Options pricing is a bit weird. Calls are very overpriced 1 month out, and the money put's cheaper than out of the money calls. Just heavy put selling or betting on a bounce. Could just be that the ARB's not closing because of low liquidity. What is today but yesterday's tomorrow? That's true. I don't think the market's pricing in much of a cut for December. How did the myth start that Gherk's a centaur? Because I sit in my chair all day, and so nobody's ever seen the lower half of my body. And the assumption is that's because centaur. Myth. Yeah. Well, bulls aren't doing much. Puts are closing. Notice call premiums are flat. Yeah, Bears got fucked a little bit on the bounce. Well, I mean, not fucked. They just closed their puts, but we did start to get some call buying. Call buying extends out to about 66.25. Ooh, big call buying out of the money. 66.55 out to 66.50 out to 66.80. Interesting. Lower highs. Higher low. Depression. 12 counterparties take 2.5 billion at Fed repo. What's SOFR like today? Uh, 391. Still flat. Not seeing a lot of stress. Correlation's picking up a bit. Interesting. You see us ripping to 66.50. Well, Bulls bought a shitload of out the money calls at the top here. So, well, there you go. It's not frozen at all. Boop. I don't think there's any news. Just squeeze the put buyers. That was neat. Kind of wish I just bought a call instead of a spread. Gross. Lower at the implied move here. There's definitely room to move up, though. Could get out to 66.80. Maybe even, nah. Hold on. Maybe 66.75. Starts to get rough after that. Maybe 80. Gotta kind of think about how IV would change. Yeah, maybe 80. It'll depend on profit taking, which is obviously heavily incentivized right here. Keep an eye on, call premiums if they start to collapse. Obviously, big spike in call premiums here, right? Like this is where we saw the buildup of out of the money calls, and those started to fall back, and put premiums started to pick up. Oh, see, call premiums pulled back a little there. So you wanna look for put call premium to rise here, and call premiums to fall. That would indicate maybe early profit taking. I don't see why they would. I guess some of the further out of the money shit already closed. No, there's pretty much calls all the way out to 70. I guess they get burned if profits get taken here, but still interest on the 72. If you look at the IV there. I think this fails if we fall back under 45. Yep, there it goes. So look for support here if bulls want to try to push a continuation. If they don't, the in the money bot calls will start to collapse. I don't think it was news driven. Oh, maybe. U.S. officials are having early discussions on whether or not to let NVIDIA sell its H200 artificial intelligence chips to China. Is that it? It seems like it's just a discussion, though. There's no decision either way. And so far, Trump has kept the Biden era export controls. So much for America first. It's always just been Trump first. Ooh, Riley's down to $4. Hmm. I don't want to raise my cost basis, though. Their margins improved. I think they have earnings coming up soon. I don't know when. Or if they're going to skip reporting them again. Oh, wait, did they release them? Oh no, they released their delayed earnings. Hmm. Sorry. Hmm. Profit taking spinning up too much. Starting to blow out the in the money call support. Pull back to Delta flip. Maybe look for support there. Yeah. Possibly support here. Lose 20, back to 6,600. Yeah, 30 looks slightly supportive. We almost tested it. 32. Calls aren't closing very much. Kind of call premiums are kind of flat. Looks like mostly profits only taken on the 50 and 45. But the 40, 35 bot calls are holding up. That massive call buying sure looks sketchy in hindsight. Why? I made 2K on the 3 candles while driving and only listening, hearing a bunch if I bought calls coming in. Immediately bought some too. Thanks, man. That's nice. I got a fill on the I got a market fill on the fucking 6650 at $9. It hit 16 and I put my stop and I got stopped out at 1230. Have you spoken about UGI? No, it just sits in my portfolio and I collect dividends off of it. I didn't even know they had fucking earnings today. Oh, nice. Yeah, it just keeps going up. That was a damn good buy at like fucking $23. You're all welcome. You know when your contracts are green rims? Stops are what you put to make sure that you keep that money and don't give it back to Kenny. We got support at the Delta flip. GS is cheating. I know. That's awesome. That's why I don't have a Range Rover. Probably that and a myriad of other reasons. Bro, I've glazed you like 30 times for UGI and URA. How much glaze you need? I mean, just keep it coming. I'll let you know when I'm good. My issue is that as a percentage of the pickle jar, people who own UGI are very is a very small percentage, and it was such a good buy. I bought SREF instead of Eura. They both did really well. Bull market's back on. Really? Because we're up like 1.6% from the fucking 5% downside. I don't think so. That's not how that works. I'm sorry, 6% downside. So the market's still down 4% from its high. You know, if you shield yourself and gave GS for free to other financial streamers, you could sell it to all of their viewers too. They could just buy it and sell it to their viewers. People said that literally yesterday. Oh, we've bottomed back to all-time highs. And then we went and grabbed a deeper bottom. It's fucking ridiculous thesis. The stimulus package can wreck the yen, but Bank of Japan's probably still has to raise rates. They approved the stimulus package. Funding it's a whole different story. Does Charm favor the bulls up here? Probably a little. Yeah, a little. It's like 500 million. There's actually just not a lot of delta at all. Like overall, there's not a lot of delta here. How do you think you do under the umbrella of a financial publisher? I don't even know what that means. Closing price predictions? Too early. Anywhere between 6,600 and 6,675. It wasn't even kind of maybe. It was literally just like it was like Trump's team had a discussion about it and no final decision was made. And it's entirely possible that it doesn't actually result in any license approvals. Not to mention, China doesn't even want the chips, which they've said repeatedly. Well, at least you're up this week. That's good. BOJ's Masu. We're close to a decision to raise rates. I can't say what month, but we're close. Nikkei News. Ooh, fuck yeah. Do it. Blow it all up. I'm gonna make so many fucking memes of Trump getting killed by samurais and ninjas. They'll be tasteful. What happened to my name? YouTube took away my Danhood. I don't know. YouTube's having some sort of username issue. I'm already on all the lists. I get a new all-time high before a rate hike? Maybe. What's leverage looking like? Ridiculous. Forward yield on vol came down a bit today. But yeah, leverage is still pushed to the tits on the carry. Japanese rate hike is effectively the same as a US rate cut. But you just look at my Twitter where I write that. I already wrote this shit. Probably takes 30 seconds to read. Maybe like 2 minutes. But still, you could do it. Here. Go read that. Grinch pinch? Ew. So I'm trying to coin stupid terms. What's up? Hmm. Where did you see the Japanese news? It's published by Nikkei at 11:35. Bulls are trying to build an upside ramp. Alright, fine, I'll play one.
Way out in Wall Street Canyon, where the charts all twist and bend, lived Sheriff Pickle, a man, the market's longtime friend.
Nope, shit.
Way out in Wall Street Canyon, where the charts all twist and bend, lived Sheriff Pickle, a man, the market's longtime friend. He rode the waves of volatility, cool as morning dew.
75.80 still looks like a target.
Bears with his misfit trading crew. Sheriff Pickle, man, riding through the candlelight, calling out the delta moves late into the night. Veda's always burning, but the posse holds on tight. Sheriff Pickle, man, keeping markets running right. Jay Fresh, the ratty cat, he's a scalper through and through. 9 lives worth of limit orders, always snapping something new. Cobra was a crappy trader, every strike he'd pick was wrong, but somehow through the gamma spikes he'd still just ride along. There's a duck behind the bins who only trades at dawn, quacks out signals no one gets, then profits when he's gone. And Popcorn Trader, just some guy, no one knows his style, but his earnings plays are wild enough to make the charts go wild. Sheriff Pickle, man, riding through the candlelight, calling out the delta moves late into the night. Veda's always burning, but the posse holds on tight. Sheriff Pickle, man, keeping markets running right. They still pour out a Red Bull for a friend who's passed away. R.I.P. to Freg, the legend who'd fade or swing all day. He knew every gamma squeeze he'd strike from low to high, and now his name's a whisper when the volume starts to fly. Sheriff Pickle, man, riding through the candlelight, taming every theta drain and gamma spike and fight. Through the market's chaos, they hold positions tight. Sheriff Pickle, man, and his posse trading right. Yeah, in the land of charts and candles, where fortunes rise and fall, Pickle man and his wild crew keep on trading through it all.
I just hate country. What the fuck? Carhartt's selling used clothes? Gross. Times are tough. No shit. Sadly, some demographics will pay a premium if Carhartt has been worn by a real-life tradesman. Interesting. Hmm. Will you disable drip on all your long positions so we can crater already? All of my long positions with drip are like energy fucking stocks. And most of them aren't most of them have already gone up enough that they're not I'm not dripping anymore. I only have a few still on drip. Hmm. Hmm. Has anybody ever bought anything from Burn? Why would anybody buy used Carhartt? I have no fucking clue. No, this company. Yeah, Carhartt shit used to be better quality. Burn makes great stuff. Okay. Duluth? I don't think I've ever bought anything from them. I've heard about them a lot, though. Hmm. I'm not a firefighter. Everything's so insulated. That's what I want. I want insulated hoodies. That's what I'm fucking. That's what I'm after. I'll just pick one up and see if I like it. Uniqlo doesn't make any clothes for people that are taller than like 5'10". Nice, Thunder. What's up, dude? Yeah, I have to buy tall length like shirts and sweaters, otherwise they just come up to my belly button. And not that that's not a style. I'm just not that kind of bear. Yep. They haven't gone way down, but they've definitely gone down. Trump v. Mandami? What? What the fuck is... Okay, whatever. Doesn't he have a fucking job to do?
She downgraded. Yeah. Right.
Mine came out today.
Not even as big as the lens she
I
had.
don't know this one. Exactly. Yeah, right.
We're impressed. The camera's bigger than her.
Why would I do Discord audio? God damn it. Hold on. Difficult. Looks like support at 35.30 still. Breakdown's still under 30.
Like, at some point you gotta go in there and say, you know, sticks and stones, buddy. I guess I gotta, you know, if you're gonna threaten me with the funding, you're gonna do you. Doesn't matter what I say.
What's going on? People are arguing over some shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what that structure is over there. As you walk out, look to the right, and it's like on this half of the driveway over there, or just beyond it, is all steel beam. Yeah, it's like it may be some new entranceway up into it. Yeah, I don't really know what it is. Nah, it's fun because you know when they're usually back there working, he's cranking his tunes. It's like show tunes and Queen, and he'll throw in the YMCA song. It's an eclectic bunch of songs. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, do you have a problem that you need to do right now? Oh, yeah. I totally get it. Now they just kind of, I mean, it's been kind of clamped down for his first term is really where they started to say it's not an open door going down. Nah, you just got to bring your Sharpie down and sign the wall. That's what you want to do. Yeah, that's your boy. He traded out. He put a smaller one in and he took the big one over there.
No, but I don't know why my. Yeah, I know he traded out. Why this was over here?
This is where he traded it out.
Also,
The big one had been here, and he took it from here and put this one in its place.
this one's.
I don't know anything about it being over there. When I came out here, the big one was here.
So you should be seeing me. If you look at the AP feed, you should be seeing me. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So that's for you. That's for me. Yeah. That's for me.
I swear I didn't do it, man. Didn't do it. That's a good way to pop your groin. I know you're in good shape and everything, man, but
I don't think
coming in cold on that
Thursday. Why not
with just a salad in your belly.
This is crazy.
You're thinking too much, man.
But I don't know. You know, he might. I mean, it's no way to know. Jessica's doing the first part. She's doing Christmas, and I'm doing the second part.
Roundhouse in 1620.
Is that how it goes?
Hmm.
Reuters? Yeah. Stell's fine, yeah.
You gonna slip the delta flip for bear time?
What do you want me to do with it? All right, I will leave it in the drawer at the rack. Okay? Yeah, you know where I sit? The rack has no drawer, or else I can just, I can put it on a little shelf under, like,
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
you just tell me where you want it.
I am so sorry about all this.
All right. I'll leave it on the driveway.
Sorry about all this.
Thanks, dude. Bye.
I am tempted to you.
Thank you, Maple. Yeah, like the stream, guys.
Up there I have some people. I do.
Listening to the press pool talk to each other is weird.
You were that too? It doesn't seem credible. Where else would they bring it from? Well, I'm sure there are other ways of getting it. Maybe bring it from 15th Street there. Drive up the driveway. I'm gonna get the 5 more minutes. And then assume the second. I agree.
You could just get rid of that playlist by having YouTube not store your history. Wait, Trump's coming out of the closet? I wonder if Mandami's getting some sloppy toppy. It wouldn't be the first time that Trump's crossed the aisle, you know?
This one's ours, right? Just the tag got moved. I just want to make sure. Okay, got it. What's your read? Do I need to sit? Okay. Yeah, 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 of course. Yeah. But you're not negotiating with me, are you? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, you don't have a read. Got it. Okay. Okay, no problem.
Don't you know you don't like broccoli if you don't try it?
Right? All right. Do what you gotta do. Although, I mean, just, I don't know what the intent is behind you.
I don't know.
Each one of those positions behind you is
still
gonna have a photographer.
Photographer. So if I'm gonna kneel somewhere, where would it be?
Underneath wherever you want to, as long as you don't block someone else.
So like this.
You'd have to speak with the gentleman behind you, but yeah, you wouldn't. As long as you're not blocking that guy there or who's up.
Got it.
Thank you.
Sure.
If he takes questions here, why wouldn't you just go to his
Hello? Hey, you're welcome. But you came here today. Did you get an answer already from
I just found that history toggle setting, but my home feed also gets properly customized based on that history setting being on. So you hold on. So you don't mind them tracking what you watch. You just have an issue with them putting the things you like into a playlist. Seems like Okay. All right. You know what, man? You do you. How's this? Why don't you like the stream until it's over and then unlike it? Or until you leave. There you go. Then it doesn't save it to a weird playlist. What causes that spike in put call ratio on GS? Also, what does it mean will happen next? Which spike? Put call ratio is falling. If you get a spike in put call ratio, it means that the like incoming volume of puts is greater than calls. Or the flow. It's basically flow, right? So contracts over the period. Can't you just delete the playlist? Like, maybe that's the real solution. It's showing you go parabolic off screen. Oh, because that's because like puts are spiking. So I mean, you're looking at the ratio of puts to calls and incoming options. If your liked videos playlist isn't an awesome gallery of Pi-Fi stream cards, you're fucking up, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. I could make this. You guys, you know what? I'll just start making the stream cards that YouTube likes. Just me looking at things shocked. Letters, probably. Various Greek symbols. Yeah, exactly. Reaction shot, flame emoji, crashing pictures, you pointing at something. Why are they tightening security so much on YouTube? Are they? Oh, by the way, if you guys are buying anything for the holidays, tell me and I'll put it in the YouTube shop. SPX puts? Can't put those in there. I've tried. Big bold letters on the thumbnail, like no risk trading strat, free money. Boy, I sure would love to buy some GS merch for Christmas gifts.
What have you guys been up to all day? Did you go to the Christmas market tomorrow? No.
I just bought a $150 double waffle maker.
No.
You just
Are you being silly?
why did you need to make 2 waffles at once?
Where's your brother at? Is he still at aftercare?
Pool says he's in.
What's that?
Pool report says he's in. So he's here.
Oh, my boss is calling. I really gotta go, but he's very busy. But I'll FaceTime you again when I have a chance. All right, love you. Bye. You see that, Dano?
Paul said he's in.
Yeah, Stephen Chung just tweeted he's in.
Paul said he's
Hey there.
in.
And yep.
Nobody saw him go on the Southwest.
Yes. Because we're hearing that the oval pool rate goes down as well. Is top of the meeting. And so if President still did not get run out, that will not be broadcast in real
You said some dumb stuff in here over the years, but why would you make 2 waffles at once? Might just take the cake. But you're just trading efficiency for double waffle making. Like a single waffle maker is going to make a better waffle faster. You're not even considering the thermodynamics of a fucking double waffle maker. Fuck you, OG rules.
I'm a socialist.
Hey there. So what's going on?
2 worse waffles that take longer to cook.
Excellent. In the unlikely
Just microwave your waffle batter like Squamska does.
the whole goal. He's over
Get silicone ice cube trays and fill them with waffle batter and put them in the oven.
Mike Del Judas. Mike. Yeah, he's in a gray sweatshirt over at the gray hat. We have pool here, but yeah, awesome.
I just threw up a little in my mouth. Be right back. I'm gonna go try that. I wonder if this thing's ever gonna fucking start. I also wonder if we're ever gonna lose 35. I feel like we should.
So if you want, I bet you at 5 o'clock, right in the
I didn't say anything about investing in NVIDIA.
You want to put a mic over here? How long is the sellout to need? 2.5 hours?
Hey Jay,
I was just told by my employer. Yes,
you didn't talk to him just yet, right?
I did not.
So I have to call.
Yeah, White House 4.
White House. Okay.
Um, I have kind of bizarre. There, some of the sound technicians here don't have crew cards, and we use our personal cards, and they reimburse us for mileage, which some people don't like. Jay likes it, but anyway, they have two cars, and I'm.
His shot's prettier than our shot.
They said, when are you going to be here, Monday or Tuesday? And I'm like, we're pulling here on Monday, and on Tuesday we're doing the turkey party. They said, we need to talk to the policeman. I don't think there's a decision. Anyway, they worked it out. And so I'm going up Wednesday. So I'll probably take the train. I like the train.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, Jay has that. He's going to turn it on. He hasn't turned it on yet.
Yeah, there's no audio. Why isn't there any audio on this?
This is talent in front of me. He's doing it now. There's labs, there's wireless. So there's going to be. Well, no, they're not going to sit. That's why. No, this is microphones.
What?
No, we're down here.
That's my correspondent's going to be right here. Nancy. Nancy Gordon.
I told you.
I'm sorry.
That stool out of the way and runs
No,
right
well,
up
actually,
to
she-
begins to.
she's stood on front here.
In front of your camera and his. As long as she, yeah, as long as
What's the lotto play? 66 15 puts? Or 6650 calls? I guess. Tricky. I feel like we'd probably just get pinned, but things are skewed a little to the downside. No, I feel like if you strangle and then it trades flat, you just lose a shitload of money. Or you could do like a inverse condor, but I mean the chances it's not good here because the chances of closing at 66 like 30 where the delta flip is are really high.
Hey, Alex.
Slip 30 a little. Vol picks up sharply.
Alex, meeting is still going to be closed, right?
As far as we know, it could open any second the way the scout is. They'll just call the press. They'll get no notification. We say, who owned the bridge room doors? No notice.
Are you in the pool today?
Yeah, Stills are. Stills were. And Evans Hammer.
One more question. Is it ever possible that they can come out to guest?
Never. All things are possible because that never seems so good.
Oh, those 15s went way the fuck up. Hmm. I doubt we would break 6,600. I kind of doubt we would test 6,600, but
No, we don't have a. Basically,
Yeah, but why don't we trade? 'Cause, yeah, okay.
yeah, I think the gentleman was talking about if they trade when they stand, because his camera's over there. They have a 4 o'clock. So she'll be within 2 feet of where she is, her head. So you should have a clear shot. I guess
I know, right, man? Coming up in the world, if you will.
hey, look, I was right. 15. Nice.
What are you doing at 4 o'clock? Or you just put it on tape?
In the money.
Yeah, well, that's we just figured out a way to get like strong. Same. Yeah.
it's everything.
And then, yeah, you just turn it on when you need me to.
They'll just call the police when that floats around, and they do it over the intercom.
Got it. What I'm saying is, if they call the pool, we'll get some indication.
Typically, we send an email, but it's over the intercom inside, because obviously I can't hear them.
Right. Got it.
Damn, it just keeps going. Later, man. At least you made something, right?
And then I just realized, like, I couldn't just get like a 12 large. Right. So, we'll all come out, you know, he'll get the thing fitted.
Ooh, nice bounce. Damn. We still have like 30 minutes left. No, it looks like someone bought calls. Right there. Call premium rose. Put premium's still rising. And puts are still being bought. So puts have been being bought this whole time. Right? This is the first bump in put buying back here. And then puts bought all the way down.
I just have to give it back because it's for some.
If we see put premium continue to rise, but put call continue to rise, but put premium fall, that could indicate puts are being sold off. Hard to tell without looking at IV whether they're being sold to close or sold to open, but I guess you can get some idea from IV. Like the 605 IV is dropping a little, so they might be selling, like shorting the downside puts. Yeah, this is just puts closing, so profit taking. Mean reversion. Oh, are they going live?
Check.
Facing desk.
The desk?
He's at the desk.
Evan?
Facing, he'll be at the desk. Yep.
What's that?
Yes.
Are they across from each other? How are they?
I don't know. There's people behind the desk.
There's people behind. So we're gonna, that's just gonna cross over. What about you guys? Camera.
Oh, fuck. Ow. Ooh, and people piled back into puts on the bounce. See, it's fun. You just watch it. That's why we built it that way.
Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. That anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York, and we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year, so that's good for New York, good for everybody.
There isn't a fucking Walmart in New York.
I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything, and we're going to be helping him.
Fucking, where the fuck is...
Dream
There's one in Valley Stream.
New York, and congratulations, Mr.
They're halfway fucking out into Long Island.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect.
Sure.
For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question, and on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I change a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on something. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, I'm from MTV Lebanon.
Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East.
Sure.
You did said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what you say for the Lebanese today, it's the independent state in Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward disarmament?
Sure. Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or $21 trillion. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East. And we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it. And I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that. Absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
You threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents
Right.
in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from the BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect, you're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though. And I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices, because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for up to $5 billion. You were going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, you know, I think they have some big energy problems. You know, they've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other
Thanks, Gorilla Mad.
Energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You had a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
I feel like I'm not particularly impressed with this close.
Who? I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy-producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. You know, last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on, and I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker. But it does take 2 to tango. And now you just see all the death. And, you know, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people. That really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25, think of that, 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What happens if I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well, he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you know.
The suggestion that you made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point, he's going to have to accept something, you know. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.
Spicy if 10 is tested. Yeah, we could get the 6,600 close. I mean, it's definitely where the concentration of interest is. Look at the puts. Calls too, right? Call support there.
I think that there
Big
are
put buying.
many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something in it?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to? Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want. We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
But to be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
that's what you said.
No, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted
Please, God.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, you know, subject to what policies are being set. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today. He'd like to see him come down, ideally by building a lot of additional housing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if
Looks
I
like
read
we're
the
getting pinned a little.
newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that.
Bleeding under
But I
would
hear- I
be
heard him say
would
it,
be
and I think
bearish. I
that's,
mean,
very
65.90 close
I expect
is
him to
definitely
him,
weak.
hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for
Please.
the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I will use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
Did you?
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any.
We'll listen to Trump ramble some other time. It's Friday. Let's wrap this shit up and get the fuck out of here, right? All right, so we got a close that's effectively in line with the market maker's implied move for the day, or a little bit below it. Closing roughly back near where VWAP is, at about 6,600. That's I feel like that puts us in not a great position for Monday, but the uptrend hasn't failed yet, despite it picking up a little bit more volatility into close. Out here on futures, obviously a little bit closer to a failure, but I'd still want to see it lose like the 6,600 level to confirm a breakdown. Obviously, we don't know what news the weekend's going to bring, but we did see volatility turn down a bit today. Obviously, volatility, like the carry on like the 10-day and the 30-day were quite high going into this morning. And you know, we saw a lot of sellers step in willing to pick up that risk. So two things that we know right now is one, you know, there's a lot of fucking sold puts below today's lows. And two, all of that put selling didn't really generate a ton of positive price action. Now we could continue to see this consolidate, bearish consolidation, but at some point it's likely to slip. I'm not sure what data we have next week, but I'll look into that on like the Sunday stream. Yields coming down across the board again, so still showing demand for bonds. However, dollar actually retreating a little bit today. Gold, silver, gold pretty stable above 4,000, but silver continuing its pullback, and we see a drop in crude back to under 58 a barrel, down from recent 60. I will say that the spike in correlation that we got midday did reverse into close, so we are seeing some of that dispersion trade come back in. If we start to see a reversal in this, so we see core 1 month start to come down more substantially, I would expect at least a relief rally. I mean, we've sold off almost 6%, and not really with a ton of incoming bad news. So a lot of this is sentiment based, and generally in rallies that don't have, or drops that don't have any kind of significant catalyst, you'll see at least relief rallies happen. We got one yesterday, but it failed very hard. Today a little bit more stable, but off of a lower low, putting some of yesterday's rally position back out of the money. But we're going to need to continue to probably see a build up in support in order for bulls to lever back up, and push the upside harder. Core 3 months still rising, but bond volatility falling back, which is a bit weird. Leverage on the carry still quite high. End of day forward yield on volatility down from yesterday, but still at 8.85%, which is significantly positive. OPEX is now over, but don't forget SLD ends Monday morning. Skew starting to turn up a little bit, which might show some positivity. I feel like breadth probably reversed here on the 20-day movers, but we still have the majority of the index below its 200-day moving average, and that tends to propagate continued sell-offs. This is another kind of interesting point, is that despite all that put selling, it's not very much, and the demand for long volatility is still exceeding what we're seeing out of the put sellers. And while correlation didn't pick up as much as it did yesterday, it still picked up a bit. And the high for volatility today was still higher than yesterday. So, we're seeing short vol come in, but they're skittish. And that position could get pulled back really quickly. Chances of a Fed cut drop pretty sharply today, both on the January and the July contracts, pulling back, like fucking 5 points. 5 points on both. 10 2-year continued to push up, which is starting to steepen a little bit, actually. The SOFR spread still at like 1 basis point, so not very significant. And we have buy volume today, a little bit higher than what we've seen since the start of November. So that's somewhat significant. So up volume higher than down volume, especially in this environment where the downside is seeing, ES and Q sold. But not a lot of change in leverage. So it's probably some put leverage fell off with the bounce, but not a lot of it. So we'll still need to see more repositioning next week. And this is a effective retest of the long-term trend from the low. And we closed, just above it. However, if this gets rejected, that sets up the next leg down. So still, questionable positioning, kind of at a midpoint here at the 6,600 level. We'll need to see how this plays out into like Monday, Tuesday. Obviously, if we get a confirmed breakout and push up, probably above like the 6,660 level, that gives us, room out to the 200 MA, where we'll be looking for our next kind of confirmation. However, if any failure before that level can pull back down, much like the initial test, if if we continue to fail. And that opens quite a lot of downside after this, especially because delta from the JPM collar, which is, you know, down here at 63.30, will start to pick up. If we move substantially below like 6,500, the delta on that's going to rocket and it's going to drag spot down really hard. In addition to ramping volatility up quite a bit on the longer time frames. So, all of that stuff to watch going into next week. We'll see. I mean, it still looks like crypto's selling off really hard, which is similar to effects we saw at the start of like 2022. And then, you know, uncertainty around pricing and Fed direction, both setting up a very similar scenario to the end of like the 2021 rally. So we'll just kind of watch this as it develops, keep an eye on, you know, important levels like gamma neutral, and you know, I guess delta neutral to the downside, and major monthly levels like 6508, 6360, 6330. What is it? 6360. That's pretty important as well. It's like the September low. That's about it. So I will see you guys Sunday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you later. Have a good weekend. Peace.